Truth About Trovato.com proudly presents Commissioner Michelle Mcfall-Conte in her own words, discussing the lousy job performance of George Trovato.
And I'd just make some of my comments on my evaluation of Mr. Trovato. His overall rating on my evaluation was a 1.7 out of 5. There were 2 categories that he did pass with a rating of 3. In 3 of them, I gave him a level 2. First, and it's kind of going down the order of the evaluation, I feel that Mr. Trovato doesn't listen to discussions and directions all the time when it's coming from the commission. 2 examples actually. When Vice Mayor Carmelingo brought forward the VGMC resolution to us at a workshop, and then again at a commission meeting, there were no comments given by Mr. Trovato, even though, as the Vice Mayor stated, he was handed to the City Attorney ahead of time. At a workshop last summer, we directed the City Attorney on charter amendments we wanted to see coming before us at first reading. When the first reading came around, one of the amendments that we had agreed on was gone and another was in its place, but we as a commission had changed that. Second, I feel when Mr. Trovato answers questions from certain commissioners, including sometimes myself, it's completed in a less than respectful fashion. I feel that Mr. Trovato could come to the meetings better prepared. He assumes since no questions were asked ahead of time, then none will be asked of him at the commission meeting. Yet as an attorney, when he goes before a judge, you don't know the questions the judge is going to ask ahead of time. Third, it's the job of the charter officers not to criticize those who appoint them in the newspaper or any other medium. At the last commission meeting, when Commissioners Denizak and Zhishkow brought up concerns that they had, Mr. Trovato said nothing in response during the agenda item or during his city attorney comments, which I respect considering this was agended for tonight. But yet on the front page of the DeLand Deltona Beacon on June 20th was Mr. Trovato commenting on what was said. Any professional charter officer would bring up their response to his or her bosses rather than play it out in the press. When Mr. Trovato decides to participate in a discussion of the commission is having, he has a habit of making it a debate. For instance, at one of our June workshops, when we were discussing possible employee severance packages, Mr. Trovato said there wasn't a lot of difference between a severance package and an early retirement package. When I disagreed with him, he started to argue with me on the issue, and it probably would have continued if the mayor hadn't gone on to another commissioner. Fourth, while it is also our responsibility to know when it's time for our charter officers' evaluations, it's ultimately Mr. Trovato's responsibility to notify us that it's time for his yearly evaluation. In his June 15th memo to Commissioner Denizak, he says the terms and conditions were reviewed at various times. But common sense says, obviously, the commission evaluated the contract before the majority of the commission, not all of it, adopted it over a year ago. But as we all know, that's not his yearly evaluation. If the commission would review the minutes of December 2008 through March 2009, everyone would see this is actually his first formal evaluation. For Mr. Trovato to say the terms and conditions have been thoroughly reviewed is wrong. Mr. Trovato had every opportunity in the months of February and March to bring up the needed evaluation under his items, but if you review the minutes, he did not. According to Mr. Trovato's contract, when we talk about the automatic raise he received, the way I interpret the contract, he should not have received the raise this year. Under salary and evaluation in his contract, it says, and I quote, "The commission shall evaluate the attorney's performance annually on or before March 17th, 2009, and shall consider salary and benefit increases in any subsequent year. If the commission should fail to evaluate the attorney's performance and consider salary and benefit increases, the attorney shall, if we fail to do it, the attorney shall receive a 4% raise." And that's any subsequent year that catches my eye. My interpretation is that we evaluate the contract once, and then in a year after, if we don't evaluate it, then he gets the automatic raise. And I know Mr. Trovato interprets it different than I do from our meeting. I also feel Mr. Trovato's performance at public meetings needs to show improvement. When he's asked a question by commissioners during commission meetings, he'll frequently repeat the question back instead of answering a direct question. Also, as mentioned before, Mr. Trovato does not speak up when the commission is doing something that will possibly harm the city legally. For instance, as mentioned in my formal evaluation, if Mr. Trovato had spoken up in February during the mayor's legal fees motion, it would have saved us 2 weeks of pretty horrible press. Another concern I am uneasy about is Mr. Trovato's side legal business. While he did inform the commission of the side business during his initial contract discussions, I didn't like it then, and I, after further research, like it less now. During my evaluation process, I Google searched Mr. Trovato, and I wasn't surprised to see him listed on many law sites because as an employer, that's something you would want to see. But what troubles me is that on many law websites, such as LexisNexis, LegalForce.com, and LinkedIn.com, he's listed as the city attorney for Deltona and also for principal legal services, yet I see his priority as our attorney. Additionally, what I found that troubled me the most, and I discussed with Mr. Trovato, was that he had posted legal advice on a legal website, and to his credit, he did only do it once and hasn't done it since. But I do feel that posting legal advice on the internet could be construed as legal advice and we could be held liable. There's also a question as to whether Mr. Trovato is living in Deltona. I understand he's grandfathered in with the new charter amendment that was passed. We had discussed that in December. But he has informed us, through what we've read in the papers and everything, that he's leading the commission to believe he was living in Deltona. But as I searched the property appraiser's website, it shows, if you would look at that the house in Port Orange is the one that's homesteaded and not in Deltona. As the commission sees by the evaluation that they received, I labored long and hard over this. And during my tenure on the commission, this is the worst evaluation I've ever given a charter officer. It was hard for me to personally write this evaluation because I don't like giving bad evaluations. I've met with Mr. Trovato on various occasions to discuss the concerns, and many of these concerns have been brought up more than once. Over the past few months, I've seen an improvement in us as a commission working together more, and I've started to get positive comments on how it seems we're working as more of a commission. And it's a huge step, and it's taken us a long time to get to this point. And I think under the leadership of Ms. Miller, we can continue this direction. But I feel that now it's the time for us as leaders of Deltona to take a stand, and we need to take a stand and do what's best for the city. I feel we need a city attorney that's supported by the supermajority, if not more, of the commission. And that's the only way a division will be cured. Only then will we continue taking the steps forward we have already begun to take. But I would like to thank the commission for listening to my concerns, and I hope you take them under advisement. Thank you.
Is this who you want to represent you? If not,
say hell no to Trovato.
Visit our website, truthabouttrovato.com.